So let's talk about the 16 billion passwords and user credentials that were leaked recently. The TLDR is that they weren't actually leaked recently in the strictest sense, or they weren't breached recently anyway. So what happened was that there was a collated database. So this was a database by attackers or security researchers or people who tend to gather compromised credentials. It was a massive database of these compromised credentials. So these passwords and usernames had been taken long ago, potentially. We don't really know how long ago and how old some of the creds are, but they'd been gathered over an indeterminate period of time and had been used by who knows who, and then had been gathered in this database by whoever the people were who created this database. And the database was public. Now, it does mean that those credentials were potentially more exposed than they previously had been. Odds are they have been around on the dark net for a while, doing the rounds, being sold in DB dumps and things like that. So it's definitely more exposed than what it was before, but it is certainly not, oh my god, this X thing has been breached and all these credentials are terrible. Now, a lot of the advice going around is still valid in that, making sure you use unique passwords for each of your accounts. A password manager is very, very helpful. Having multi-factor authentication of any form makes it infinitely harder for an attacker to get your creds. There will be a lot of security people who are saying, "Oh, don't use this MFA and don't use that and don't use whatever." Fuck them. Okay, use whichever multi-factor authentication is the easiest and most convenient for you to use, because using any is better than none and makes it more difficult. And attackers typically are lazy, especially when they're targeting, broad scammy things. If it's a targeted attack, it gets a little bit different. But for most attacks that most average people are going to come across, an attacker is going to try and go for the easiest target. If you have MFA, you're now no longer the easiest target. Congratulations, even if it is a reportedly insecure one. Okay, so the breach is, but yeah, do good password hygiene anyway.